Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today, I will show you the recap of a 2013 thriller crime film titled Prisoners. As always, spoiler alert, watch out and take care. The movie opens with a scene of a snowy forest in rural Pennsylvania, where a deer quietly noses around for food. Moments later, the deer is shot by a teenage boy named Ralph, who has been standing right next to his proud father, Keller Dover. The scene then shifts to Keller and Ralph driving back from the hunt. On their drive back to their house, Keller lectures his son to be ready for any situation, according to his grandfather's percept. After a long drive, they finally arrive at their residence. As Keller parks his car in their driveway, an old, yellowed RV van drives past their house. Just then, Keller's wife Grace and his 6-year-old daughter Anna walk out of the house. Curious, Anna asks her brother if they are taking their truck, but Ralph pokes fun at their sister's curiosity and calls her a dope. Together, the family walks down the street to the Birch's house for Thanksgiving dinner. On their way, Ralph expresses his wish to buy a car from Danny's dad. However, Keller opposes and complains that they had enough on their plate. Once at the Birch's house, the family is greeted by a music teacher named Franklin, his wife Nancy, 15-year-old Eliza, and 7-year-old Joy. As the adults are busy preparing for the meal, Joy and Anna ask their father's permission to walk outside. Keller agrees, but on the condition that they tag along with Ralph. Excited, Anna and Joy go outside to play with their older sibling trailing behind. While Ralph and Eliza are debating over hunting animals, the younger girls run up to the old RV, now parked in front of a house with a for sale sign in the yard. Curious, Anna and Joy start to mess with the RV, but they are pulled away by Ralph and Eliza. While walking back to their house, the group overhears a radio inside the RV, indicating someone's presence. After the meal, the parents lounge in the living room, drinking and having fun. Meanwhile, Anna and Joy run back into the lounge. Anna asks her mother if she can go back to the house to find a red whistle that she lost. The girls are given permission after singing Jingle Bells. Later that day, Keller walks down to the basement where Ralph and Eliza are watching TV. He asks them if they've seen their sibling, but to much of their dismay, they do not know where their siblings are. Worried, Keller runs back to their house and looks for the girls. Back at the Birch's home, everyone is worried about the girls' sudden disappearance. Right then, Ralph mentions the RV that he saw earlier. Franklin, Keller, and Ralph run outside, but the van is long gone. Unfortunately, the for sale house is locked. The scene then shifts to a Chinese restaurant, where Detective Loki is having his Thanksgiving dinner. He then receives a call about the suspected RV. In the middle of the heavy rain, he walks to his car. Once inside, he hears on the police radio that an RV matching the description has been found at a rest stop, and he heads over to that location. Loki and 2 cops approach the RV, which is parked at a nearby gas station. Much to their surprise, it roars to life and crashes into the woods after a failed escape attempt. Loki gets into the car, and through the smoke he finds a terrified 34-year-old Alex Jonas huddled in the back. Alex, who has an IQ of a 10-year-old, appears confused when questioned at the police station, while the forensic team looks through his van for evidence. Later that night, Detective Loki surveys the backyard of Holly Jones, the aunt of Alex, and is then shown the inside of the house where Alex has been living since his parents' death. Meanwhile, Keller, Ralph, and their neighbors search through the dark and dense forest. Back at the police station, the forensic team has yet to find any evidence. The following morning, Loki visits the Birch's family home, where Nancy is traumatized by the empty space left by her missing daughter. Grace later questions Loki if Alex has passed the lie detector test, to which he confirms he did. In the living room, Keller joins his wife and Loki and interrogates Loki about Alex. Although Loki explains that Alex has an IQ of a 10-year-old and is unlikely to have been able to pull off a kidnapping in broad daylight, Keller remains unconvinced. Back at the police station, Loki meets with his captain, O'Malley. Despite Loki's belief in Alex's innocence, he asks O'Malley to continue holding him based on Keller's request. Later that day, Loki visits local ex-offenders, including a priest named Father Patrick Dunn. He finds Father Patrick passed out drunk on the floor and takes advantage of the situation to look around. In the dark basement, Loki discovers the corpse of a long dead man. He then interrogates Father Patrick about the corpse, who admits to massacring the man because he confessed and bragged about murdering 16 children and possibly more. The next morning, Alex is released from the police station, and Keller becomes enraged and tackles him to the ground, leading to Keller's immediate arrest while Alex and his aunt are taken away. In the captain's office, Keller reveals to Loki that when he grabbed Alex in the parking lot, he whispered to him, "They didn't cry until I left them." Loki assures Keller that he will talk to Alex, and before walking out of the office, he expresses his disappointment in Alex's release, despite his disapproval. Later that afternoon, Loki visits Alex Allen's house and presses Alex further to tell the truth, but Alex continues to deny any involvement. Disappointed, Loki leaves the house and calls Keller, informing him that they are no longer considering Alex a suspect. However, Keller is enraged and hangs up on him. Grace is in a panic over Anna's disappearance at the Dove's home, accusing Keller of failing to keep them safe as he promised. Keller gives her Xanax to calm her down and goes outside to find a devastated Ralph in tears. He confronts his son and encourages him to stay strong. Keller drives his truck to the Jonas' house and parks it a little away. He watches over their house all night until Alex eventually comes out with his dog Tucker and begins singing the same jingle bells as Anna. Enraged, Keller confronts him with a gun. The next day, Keller picks up Franklin from his house and drives to his father's old residence, where he has tied up Alex to a pipe in the shower. Traumatized, Franklin suggests giving him over to the cops, but a reluctant Keller insists that they need to hurt him until he talks, since he'll just clam up like last time. Despite Franklin's opposition, Keller convinces him to assist in the plan. Meanwhile, Loki walks around the lawn of their for-sale home while on call with Captain O'Malley, who tells him that there is no ID match on the priest's corpse. Loki finds an article about a boy who was kidnapped 26 years ago while playing on the for-sale home's front lawn, and later that day visits the boy's mother, Miss Milland, who shows him a video of 6-year-old Barry. Later that night, Loki pays a visit to Father Patrick at the police station to question him about the body found in his basement. Father Patrick reveals some details he knew about the man. Meanwhile, Franklin and Keller continue to brutally assault Alex, who remains unresponsive. Keller, becoming infuriated, tortures Alex without success. Franklin, overcome with guilt, returns home to find a candlelight vigil taking place on his street. When Loki arrives at the vigil, he encounters a man who behaves suspiciously, but the man flees upon seeing Loki. The following morning, Franklin watches a news report naming a tall man as the new suspect in the case. Keller and Franklin argue about the news report while driving to Keller's father's house. Keller insists that the tall man and Alex are working together. Meanwhile, at the police station, Loki informs Captain O'Malley that the Jonas' dog was hit by a car, and Alex has gone missing. Despite his doubts about Alex's innocence, Loki reviews his interrogation footage once again. Frustrated, Loki receives a call from a discount store employee who recognizes the hooded man from a composite drawing. Acting on the tip, he heads to the store, where a female worker informs him that the tall man featured on the news report has been buying children's clothes there regularly. Meanwhile, at Keller's father's house, Franklin breaks down in tears over their actions, but Keller reminds him that it has been 5 days since the girl's disappearance. Back at home, Nancy questions Franklin about his whereabouts. Shortly after, Nancy confronts Keller for his role in Alex's kidnapping and demands to see him. Once inside, she makes an emotional appeal to a badly beaten Alex and frees him from his restraints, but he attempts to escape through a window. Franklin and Keller arrive in time to restrain him. Later that night, Keller picks up Nancy and Franklin for their home and drives them to the basic torture chamber he built for Alex. As Franklin and Nancy arrive at their home, an intruder breaks into the Birch's residence while Eliza is taking a bath. Upon entering, Nancy panics when she doesn't find Eliza. However, Eliza emerges in a towel, furious with them for leaving her alone. Meanwhile, the intruder sneaks into the Dover's house. Grace, who is intoxicated, hallucinates hearing Anna's voice and enters her room, which has an open window. She later leads Detective Loki to the basement, where he finds suspicious items. Suspicious, Loki decides to trail behind Keller. The next morning, Keller discovers Loki following him and tricks him into a liquor store. He exits the store and confronts Loki about Alex's whereabouts, leading to an argument about Keller's daughter's disappearance. The next morning, Loki is exhausted as he studies his computer screen. He comes across a story about Keller's father and obtains the address. Meanwhile, Keller continues to torture Alex in the chamber, causing him to babble incoherently about escaping from a maze. Suddenly, Loki arrives at the house and Keller tries to make a getaway. He gives Loki a suspicious tour of the home and is just about to lead him upstairs when Loki's phone rings. It's the discount department store clerk, informing him that the tall man, Bob Taylor, has just left. Loki rushes over to question Bob about his behavior and forces his way into his home, calling for backup as he believes the girls may be there. The house is creepy and disgusting, and Loki discovers a locked door which he breaks open. Inside, he finds crates filled with maze books, live snakes, and blood-stained children's clothing, including items that belonged to the missing girls. At the police station, the parents are called in to identify their daughter's belongings, while Bob confesses to abducting the girls. In the interrogation room, Loki and O'Malley watch as Bob Taylor draws a maze through a two-way mirror. Loki goes in to question him about it, but becomes angry when Taylor stays quiet. During a physical altercation with Loki and two other officers, Taylor snatches one of the guns and shoots himself. Later that night, Nancy goes to Keller's apartment and gives him poison to kill Alex. Anxious, she says that she wants to protect what's left of her family and keep her and Franklin out of jail. Sometime later, Keller goes to the Jonas' house and acts contrite, and Holly allows him to come in. Keller mentions a maze, but she seems unfazed, and that is when he discovers that Holly's husband kept snakes, and Alex has not spoken much since some traumatic childhood incidents involving them. Back at the police station, Loki becomes frustrated with the lack of progress in the case, until he matches a maze Taylor drew while in custody to the maze necklace worn by the man Patrick Dunn killed in his basement. Later, Loki walks into Bob's house only to discover that Taylor had been kidnapped as a child and was not behind the abductions. The maze is an unsolvable puzzle from a book, and there is a possibility that the girls are still alive. Somewhere, Joy finds the door to the prison open. Luckily, she escapes the prison, but without Anna, who gets caught. She gets rescued by a terrified woman and gets taken to the hospital. Keller visits her in the hospital to gather information, but her memories are confused, and she only mumbles, "You were there." Keller realizes that Joy may have heard his voice when he visited Holly at Jones's house, and runs from the police. Meanwhile, Loki searches for Keller at the apartment building and discovers Alex. Keller drives back to the Jonas' house to get information from Holly, but she pulls a gun on him. Holly reveals that before her husband left her, they abducted many children in their so-called war on God to avenge their son's death. Alex was the first child they abducted, followed by Bob. When Alex took the girls for a ride, Holly decided to abduct them. Holly shoots Keller in the leg and imprisons him in a concealed pit in her yard, where he discovers the police whistle belonging to his daughter. Loki goes to Joan's house to tell her that her nephew has been found. He finds a photograph of Holly's husband wearing the same maze necklace found on the body in the priest's basement. While searching the house, Loki discovers Holly drugged Anna, and the two exchange gunfire. During the dispute, Loki is severely injured, but manages to kill Holly. He then rushes Anna to the hospital, where she reunites with her mother. Meanwhile, Alex, who is revealed to be Barry Milland in the newspaper, is reunited with his parents after surviving the torture. A day later, Loki returns to the Jones house, where authorities have begun excavating the property. As forensic investigators depart for the night, Loki stands alone in the quiet and darkness. As Loki is about to leave, the movie ends with him hearing a faint whistle emanating from the pit. Thank you for watching. We really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for even more videos just like this. And if you have a movie you'd like us to recap, let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Take care.